Welcome to the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, where we dive into the captivating world of books. Here at the Book Buzz Show, we encourage you to make your pages turn with joy and immerse yourself in a magical literary experience. Enjoy the show. Welcome to the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, where we dive into the captivating world of books. Here at the Book Buzz Show, we encourage you to make your pages turn with joy and immerse yourself in a magical literary experience. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to the Book Buzz Show. I am your host, Cheryl Brooks. And if you are new here, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. If you enjoy the upcoming show, please like, follow, and subscribe, and also share the broadcast so others can enjoy it as well. Also, for those who are new here at the Book Buzz Show, we do discuss the book and the characters. And tonight, we will be deep diving into the story, so there will be spoilers, just so you'll know ahead of time. And then, in addition to being a live broadcast, the Book Buzz Show is now also a podcast. So you can check us out at the Book Buzz Show with Cheryl, wherever you get your podcasts. And excuse me, I have a cough, so I've been coughing, and now my eyes are watering. Also, I'd like to let you know that this episode is being brought to you in partnership with Black Odyssey Media. That is their logo on the screen. Please check out their wonderful authors. Here are a few of them, just to give you an idea. You can go to their website at blackodyssey.net and check these out. Again, that's blackodyssey.net. And these are some of the authors' book covers that's on the screen. For those who are listening, again, that's blackodyssey.net. Okay, tonight we have a great show in store for you. We will be discussing a Spirit Mate series, and this is the first book in the series, Brock's Redemption, on the screen for those who are watching. For those who are listening, again, that's Brock's Redemption, a Spirit Mate series by E.J. Brock. Very, very good series, so make sure you check it out if you haven't already. And without further delay, I'm going to bring on tonight's guest and also my co-host for this evening, Antoinette Gates. Let me just bring them on. Hello. Welcome, ladies. Welcome.
Hello, how are you?
Good. Looks like we have a couple of people in the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was mute. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Okay.
And let me see where this. Let me try to move this out the way. I don't know what's going on with this black thing that's coming on the screen. All right, so looks like we have Erica in the audience. Thank you for joining us, Erica. And we have Ola in the audience. Thank you for joining us, Ola.
Hello, ladies.
And we have Katina.
Hello.
Hi, Katina. Thank you for joining us.
Hello.
Katina, I was telling you about this book and this series. You're going to have to check it out. You're going to love it. Ola, you too, if you haven't already. Let's see. We have Emma Brock. Hello, welcome. Join us. Thank you for joining us.
That's my twin sister.
Yes, hi.
Hi, Miss Emma.
All right, so since we have a lot to discuss, we're going to get right into it. All right, Miss Eva. So can you give us a little background on like your backstory as how you got started on your professional writing journey?
Well, actually, good evening again, everybody. Actually, I wrote and won first place for a short story that I wrote when I was in the fifth grade. And I always wanted to be an author, but life be lifing. And it came down to the money. So I spent 40 years in logistics as a warehouse supervisor, manager, IT specialist, and all that stuff. In 2010, when the stock market, when the housing industry bubbled and jobs were lost, homes were lost. I was living in Houston, Texas. I'd been down there 30 years, and I was one of the first ones to be laid off. And I'd been promised that I was not on the list. But when they announced it, I was one of the first names they called. And I was really angry about that because I had spent all my youth helping this company build up this reputation. And on my way home, I was just telling God all about himself, how he got me down in Texas by myself, waited till I got old, and now I don't have a job. And he said, they didn't lay you off, I laid you off because I got a job that I want you to do. I got a story I want you to tell. So I said, okay, I'm listening. And he told me the premise of the story, but he said, I don't want you to write Christian fiction. He said, I want you to meet my lost children where they are out in the world and bring them back into me. And so I said, okay. I said, what am I going to do about my house? I owned a home, and the bubble had popped with nobody buying homes. So he said, leave that up to me. I put my house on the market that Friday, and it sold that Monday in 3 days. And he said, you going to trust me now? I said, okay, I got you. Moved back to Gary, where I originally was from. And I sat down to try to write this book. And I got 18 chapters in. And I must tell you, it was a good story. In the middle of the 18th chapter, I lost everything. And you know how when you lose things on the computer, you can always find them. But I couldn't find it. It wasn't there. And God said, I told you I didn't want you to write Christian fiction. I want you to write a story that will draw my lost sheep back in. So I sit down and I had to start from scratch. And you know, when you've written 18 chapters, you don't remember what you wrote. I had to literally start from scratch. But I leaned and depended on God to tell me what to say. And He's my witness that I wrote the first 4 books in 4 months. Keep in mind the editing sucked, according to Miss Erica George. But He gave me the words, and that's how I got into writing this series. And I thought that when I got to book 7, that, okay, I'm through. 7 is the perfect number in the eyesight of God. And God said, I didn't tell you to stop. There's still more out there. And here I am now, 12 years later, and I'm like 48 books in, 3 series. And He just keeps giving me messages that He wants me to tell in these books. I have one reader who told me that she could tell when the shift happened in the book. It was like after book 12, she said it kind of went straight using stories out of the Bible and wrapping a fiction story around it. And that's how I got started.
I think that's ingenious too. How you basically, that's what I like about it. How you wrap the spiritual along with the paranormal.
But
So you
see,
basically did two.
I couldn't do it as Christian fiction because Christian fiction readers would have ate me up.
Mm-hmm.
So they've got it in their mind that The Bible is sweet and innocent. I'm a Bible teacher, okay? There's some stuff in that Bible that they are not going to preach from that pulpit. They are not going to tell it. So I tell it in my books.
Right, right,
I
right,
tell it in my books because they're not going to tell it. And that's what God wanted me to do. The Bible is not all sweet and innocent.
right. It's some yeah, it's some stuff that happened all those years, many years ago that because I think I reached out to you when I was reading Brock's Redemption the first time around. And I told you, I said, you really brought it with that scene with Brock in the park with the
Don't tell what he did.
and you told me, you said that's straight out the Bible. I said, what? I said, I got
And I had to show you where it was. Everything
Yeah.
I do is straight out of God's word. But see, I tell people all the time that even though my books are classified as paranormal,
Mm-hmm.
there is nothing. Paranormal means out of the norm.
Right, right.
And there's nothing more out of the norm than God.
True.
God said, "Let there be," and it was. You try that and see what happens.
Good point. Good
So
point.
he is paranormal. He is paranormal. But I should have said probably spiritual paranormal, because when you say paranormal, you think of vampires
Shifters and
and
stuff, right.
wolves and shapeshifters. And my character, Brock, hates the concept of vampires. You read that? God ain't made no vampires.
Right. It's good that you see the similarities, but then I love the way it's explained as far
Right.
as who they are. And I just love it. You did such an
Well, see,
excellent
I
job.
understand. I think I understand what you're saying about the similarities,
Mm-hmm.
but in actuality, Hollywood mimicked
Mid off that, yeah.
the Bible.
Right.
Even when you had who was it, Moby Dick?
Mm-hmm.
Was that Moby Dick, the whale, years and years
Well,
ago?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that was Jonah in the belly of the whale.
True. I didn't
Right.
think about that.
That's exactly what they do, is take stuff from the Bible and wrap fiction around it, which is what I did. Now, one thing that one of my readers said that she didn't quite understand, and I told her, I said, it's in the Bible. And she said, well, what does the Bible say about that? I said that there's no redemption without the shedding of blood.
You said no redemption without what?
The shedding of blood.
Okay.
You know how they got to do it in that book,
Right.
in my
Yeah.
series.
Right.
The
It's all
ritual.
it's all biblical. I just put a fantastical story around it.
And it's ingenious. It's ingenious. I'm telling you, I'm like, I was trying to explain it to one of my book buddies because I was telling her about the series because I've been doing a reread in preparation for this. And I just got so amazed all over again because I'm like, this is just wonderful, wonderful, wonderful reading. But hi Lisa, thank you for joining us.
Hi, Lisa.
But yes, anybody who hasn't read this series, I highly recommend it. And one of my questions was how you came up with the concept, but now I see how you came up with the concept. You told us.
I came up with the concept that way, and I came up with the characters' names in memory of my parents and my grandparents.
Yes, I remember you told me that.
Brock's name, he's Seraphiel, but his human name is Fred. My father is Fred. His mate is Jody Mae Walker. My mother's name was Jody Mae Walker. Snow Anna was my mother's mother. She's half Indian. Her name was Snow Anna. And my mother's father was Hezekiah. All of that, I'm just taking my family names
Right.
and using them. But then you guys know, after you get so far down in the series, thank God I ran out of loved ones.
And then you started incorporating your readers.
I posted, who wants to be a character in my book? And everybody responded. I'm like, okay. And I'm looking at some of these names over here. I don't have an Ola.
Oh yes, yep. You get some ideas.
I got a
That's
Lisa,
right.
I think, but I don't have a Katina.
Yes,
Of
you
course,
get
Erica
I,
George is a character,
right.
and I
Yes.
won't make Emma a character because it's all my dead loved ones.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
My
Yeah.
twin is still here.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Hello,
And
Martha.
well, I know I was honored to be given being a character in the book.
Yes, you
Martha,
are.
Martha, thank you for joining us. Um, okay, so when you're deep in writing mode, how does a typical day look for you?
You know what? I was sharing with my friend Iris Boland,
Mm-hmm.
and we both concluded because I wanted to make sure I wasn't alone. I don't do no housework when I'm writing a book.
Say that all for
I am stuck on this. When I get up, I was like, it took me a week to clean up my bedroom when I got through with that book because you have tunnel vision.
right.
You have
Mm-hmm.
tunnel vision. And see, what I do is I already have the plot in my head. So when I first start typing, I'm typing paragraphs, I'm typing backgrounds all the way through.
Okay.
I'm typing background. And then I come back and put the dialogues within those paragraphs because I
Hmm.
already know who I want to say what. But I
Ah,
start out with just the paragraphs, just the background. And then I got to go back and do, and I don't write in order. I may
I've
write
heard other
chapter
authors say
23
that.
first.
It seems like that would be difficult to do, but I guess
No,
it just
then you got to
depends.
build up to it.
Okay. Okay. And I guess it just depends on what works for you because everybody has their own system.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as far as writing quirks, do you have any writing quirks or routines or special items that you like to have around when you writing?
You know, I've heard other authors and I've seen them on Facebook talk about how they do the vision boards.
Right.
By the time I get that vision board figured out, I could have wrote the whole book.
But how do you okay, so how do you keep everything straight? Because you have a lot of characters. And
You
even though I
know,
read so many of the books, when I started reading again, I'm like, I forgot about this
see,
person.
y'all be trying to trick me in that Brock Addicts folder. A reader will come on and say, you wrote this in book number 23. I said, no, I wrote that in book 14. It's I know what I wrote, when I wrote it, and what it just sticks in there.
Okay.
It just stays.
I love that.
Yes.
Um, now what do you know now that you wish you had known when you first started out in writing?
That it's not an overnight success. It's not. I had a friend of mine that's a paranormal author. She told me years ago, keep your day job.
Mm,
Well, I'm so blessed because when we started out, I told you I always wanted to be an author,
right,
but life was lifing.
right.
So I'm so blessed that when I got laid off and I had got hurt on the job a year or so before and ended up having to walk with a cane.
Okay.
When I
Mm-hmm.
moved back here, wasn't nobody gonna hire me for no job, gray haired, walking with a cane when they could get a college student.
Mm-hmm.
God kept saying, I don't want you to get no job. I got an assignment for I want you to do this. So I'm like, yeah, but I gotta make some money. You know,
Right.
you know it's about the Jesus said give Caesar what Caesar's ain't got nothing to give Caesar. He said, go down and apply for your disability. Because I was too young, a few years too young for Social Security at the time.
Okay.
So I went down there and applied, and they turned me down. And he said, go again.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down there a couple of months later, and they turned me down. And in my head, I could see what Elijah told the man he was praying for the rain. And the man kept coming back, saying, I don't see nothing. He said, go again.
Mm.
So that's what God kept telling me, go again. And they turned me down. He said, to get yourself a lawyer. And this had gone on for like 6 months or so. Fortunately enough, I did get unemployment, really nice unemployment, and really nice settlement from the layoff. So I did
Okay.
have money, but you can't keep taking out of a bank and think it's going to stay full.
Mm.
You got to
True.
start putting something in.
True.
So anyway, when I got me an attorney, and it took about a year for us to get to court, and the attorney said, this judge has a 19% approval rate, so don't get your hopes up.
Mm.
And I said, yeah, but my guy got 100% approval rate.
I hear that. I know that's right.
I'm going in on his word.
I
And you
know
know
that's
what he
right.
did for me? You know what that judge did for me?
What?
He made them pay me back to the last day I worked. I
Mm,
had not, that was 2 years.
that's a blessing.
Get this girl 2 years salary. He had all kind of people asking him, with her condition, will she be able to do this job, this? And they all had to say, no, she can't do it. I didn't know them people. But with
Mm-hmm.
my physical limitation, they said, no, she can't do it. He
Right.
said, get this woman all that money. I said, I didn't ask for that much. The lawyer like, shut up.
I know that's right.
And then God said, now you get to your house and get about the business of doing what I told you to do and write these books. And I'm going to tell you how God worked that out. I've got at least 2 people on here that can attest to this. Out of my books, a Bible study was started that I
Mm,
teach every Saturday from women across the United States. Just
Hmm.
from reading my books, they say you need to do a Bible study. Although it's not a preachy, my books are not preachy, you know what I'm saying?
They're not. They're
But
not.
you can recognize God's word in my books. You can be
yes.
like, we need a Bible study class. And we do it every Saturday night. We do it every Saturday night.
I never knew how that's how it started. I love that. I love
Kelly
that.
Murphy was the first one to ask.
Okay.
She said, she was trying to, she's going to school to be, what do you call it? A theology. Well, I've done my theology. I've got my degree in theology, okay? She said, would you help me? And I said, of course I will. We can have Bible study together. And I don't know if I was telling Erica about it or if I was telling her mother, Karen, about it. And they like, we want to be in on this Bible study. So I'm like, oh, well, God, is that the way you lead me?
Mm-hmm.
Because it may not have even been about the books. It could have
Right.
been
It
about
might
the
have
Bible
been Bible
study
study.
Right.
all
Mm,
along. But you don't know where God is going to lead you. You just keep, one of my characters says, his catchphrase is, it's not the journey,
Mm-hmm.
the destination.
Right.
The destination. You end up where you're supposed to end
To
up.
be right.
And I hope that's the message that my books, that my series give. And like I said, I'm not all, I mean, because I can write a mean love story, can't I, y'all?
Yes.
yes, ma'am.
I can write a mean sex scene too,
Right.
but it ain't vulgar.
Right.
It ain't
It's
vulgar.
beautiful. I'm telling you, you
Yes,
are in the audience, and you and just the every one of the books has a message, but like she said, it's not preachy. It doesn't beat you over the head.
right.
But just like you just said, Katina, it is just inspiring. It's awe
Mhm.
inspiring.
Well, and I said
Um,
ain't preaching, but that book that I wrote, Battered Road to Restoration,
That's
mhm.
that's straight up preaching. Pastor Floyd is
yeah.
preaching that subject.
Pastor Flo,
That one is straight up
that-
preaching.
he brought a word. He brought a
What you
word.
say, Antoinette?
I say he brought a word.
He brought a word on that one. And
He
then some of
always
my
does
readers,
though in all the books though.
some of my readers was like, oh my, because Pastor Floyd was my uncle in real life. He was
Okay.
my mother's baby brother. And he actually was running with the Blackstone Rangers in Chicago
Oh,
when
really?
God
Okay.
called him into the ministry.
Okay.
He was out there doing what he knew he had no business doing. When
Mm-hmm.
God told him, I got a job for you. And they tell a story that when he showed up in church that Sunday morning at my grandmother, Snow Anna's church, when
Mm-hmm.
they opened the doors of the church, Floyd walked up there and said he'd been called to the ministry. And they say, Snoetta went crazy. You're not going to be playing with my God, boy. Because she knew her son.
Right.
Mhm.
Knew her son. But God can use anybody.
Right.
He wasn't as bad as Saul was in the Bible.
Right.
And God
Right.
used him. So
Mhm.
Pastor Floyd is preaching this sermon about how God can use anybody, anything,
Hmm.
to do whatever he wants to it.
I'm telling you, when even throughout the series, because I got up to book 34, I believe, so I got to catch up. But um, just man, his sermons and stuff. I think I told you that before too. It's like it touches you. It
Oh,
touches
yeah.
your spirit. It
One of
definitely
my
touches.
readers was like, I sure would have liked to read, I sure would have liked to meet Pastor Floyd and listen to some of his sermons. I'm like, yes, Floyd didn't write that sermon. I wrote that sermon. That was not for
So that
that
was
was not
that was
for
all big.
no, that was mine. I wrote
Oh
that one. I'm
man.
theology. That was my sermon.
I hear you. I hear you.
Haley Sharon.
Martha saying, I thank Antoinette for recommending Brock's Redemption because I was going through a storm and that book really spoke to my spirit. I hear you.
And
Yes.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, Martha's got a couple of her kids' teachers reading the books now too, don't you, Martha?
Oh,
Mhm.
that's excellent. Yeah, that's excellent.
In Mississippi.
Yes, ma'am.
Hey, LaShira.
Hey,
Welcome.
Shira.
Yes, but like I said, his just throughout, not just Floyd. You get little gems here and there from all the different characters,
Oh, Smooth.
even the flawed ones. Yes,
Oh, Smooth.
yes,
The chief of the Blackstone Ranger, the commander
yes,
in chief, he had to put the races in their place, didn't he?
yes. Oh, Martha is saying yes that she did get the
She's got her
yeah. Hmm.
children's teacher reading them.
Yeah, I love that.
Sal, Sal could give a little word too now.
Who?
Salvador.
Oh,
Sal.
well, they all you wait a minute, they all have testimonies. All of them have the testimonials that they can do because they've
Right.
all been yes,
Because they're all old gangsters.
yes, yes.
Right.
They're all old gangsters. That goes back to there's nothing that you could have done in your past. See, I say, and I wrote it in one of my books, if your problem or if your sin is not bigger than a dead Jesus, God got you.
Hmm.
There's
Hmm.
room for redemption.
Yes, and that's one of the questions I had because I noticed that theme throughout the books that even the ones who had done some of the horrible things in their
All
past,
of them.
yeah, that they all, you were able to redeem them, and
Mhm.
Brock and his family all embraced them, even though as long as they were willing to ask for redemption.
Because,
Mhm.
even the Walker brothers, and I
Hmm.
don't know if you don't have the cover,
Which
that
one?
the cover
The
for the
Walker.
Walker brothers.
No, but I don't have that one.
That one tells it all. Because,
Hmm.
it's the gun, the cross, and the Bible. It's the
Right.
cover. And the Walker
Mhm.
brothers, I think it's in the book of Acts that says even those talking about the Gentiles
Hmm.
Mhm.
that were not under the law, but they lived in the manner that the law told them to live in.
Mhm.
It said that the Spirit had reached their hearts, even though they were not the Jews. And in Acts, I think it says they are a law unto themselves.
Hmm.
And what are the Walker brothers called? A
What are
law
they?
unto themselves.
Oh yeah, yeah. I
Guess
forgot
where I
about
got
that.
it from?
I
The
forgot
Walker, Walker brothers.
that.
Yeah, they did some killing, but that was to keep the gangs out of the
Right, they had
neighborhood.
a reason, but right when you get their backstory, when we get their backstory, we find all of that out. There was a reason behind it, and you have that in there. There's a time
There's a
to
time for
kill.
everything under the
Yeah.
sun.
Yeah, and a
Right.
time to kill.
Absolutely.
But now I noticed too that you made sure to make them all different ethnic
Ethnic.
groups.
Mhm.
What was the reason behind that?
The reason I did that is because, first of all, race in and of itself is a construct
Mhm.
created by the white man to get a superior
Right.
rank.
Hierarchy. Right.
And I did that because although the Jews believe that they are the chosen,
Right.
they did not understand what they were chosen for. God didn't love them any more than he loved all the other nations. He wanted them to be the light that represented him to bring the other nations into him.
Mm.
But they couldn't do it. But when you go back and you study the Bible, every time it mentions a woman specifically coming down Jesus's lineage, which was Judah,
Mhm.
the first woman in Judah's lineage was not an Israelite. She was a Canaanite.
Hmm.
Judah slept with his daughter-in-law. He thought she
Hmm.
was a prostitute. I'm telling you, there's some stuff in that Bible.
Oh boy, oh boy.
Rahab, the prostitute on the wall,
Mm.
she
Mhm.
was a Canaanite. She Jesus' great-great-great-grandmama.
Mm.
Ruth, the Moabite. So that's why I made it a rainbow of colors.
Right.
Because if you actually do their lineage, the only women they talked about 99% of the time were not Israelite women coming down Jesus's lineage. Coming down Jesus's lineage. It was not the Israelite women that brought him in.
Okay.
It was the other nations.
Mm.
Right.
And God, he never called them, he never said race. It was always nations. They were always
Okay.
referred to. And I tell you something else, he never called them Gentiles. That was
Hmm.
the arrogance of the Jews that did that. Gentile was an insult for the men who hadn't been circumcised. So it was making fun of their manhood to call
Right.
them Gentiles.
Right.
God didn't have nothing to do with that. That's man doing that.
Right. Right. Right.
But
But
anyway, that's why I did it. That's why I gave them a whole, because there's a whole
a whole
rainbow.
nation,
So
yeah.
absolutely,
Right.
absolutely.
A
But
And I
you know
brought
what?
the
multitude.
races in
I
there
loved it
too.
though. Hmm?
Remember, I brought the races in there. I brought the,
Yes, you did, and I just read
and they
about
got
that again.
spanked. They
Yes.
got spanked because they ain't got no place.
Yes, you did. In very creative ways. And I
Yes.
have to tell y'all the creativity. You are gonna love how they deal with a lot of the demons and the races and all of that come after them and their family.
I think that I did in just about every book. I tried to do something that could be applicable.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in book 2, I dealt with Symphony being raped.
That was
I don't
terrible.
write no rape scenes. I don't do that.
Yeah,
I just tell the story.
right.
And then her
Right.
sanction mate finds out, her spirit mate finds out about it, and all hell jumps off.
Right.
Remember in book 3, I told the story. I brought 9/11 into the story.
Mhm.
Every book I try to do something. Darius's, I think, was my favorite book. Darius, he aims to maim,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that was the only book that I did where I started the character from the time he was in the womb until he was 65.
Mm-hmm.
And this was back in the
Mhm.
50s. And I walked you through every racial strife that I myself lived through.
Right.
And I remember when Martin Luther King was killed. You know what I'm
Mm.
saying?
Right.
All the riots that went on behind that, when they killed Malcolm X, even the Kennedy boys lived through all those traumas.
Right.
He lived through segregation, which it
Mhm.
came about. The desegregation came about by the time I was really becoming aware that there was such a thing.
Right. Right.
You know,
Right.
our children, I mean, their children could suckle our breast,
Right.
but we couldn't drink from their water fountain.
Right. Is that something? Yeah.
All that's in that book. All that.
Mm-hmm.
Darius is still my favorite.
Mhm.
uh Martha says she knows the way Mark can minister to people where they are. Yeah.
They
Yeah.
absolutely. And Martha, the reason I did that for Mark is because that's what God told me to do. Meet them where they are.
Right.
Don't come with a Christian fiction. Meet them where they are and encourage them to come back. And that's what Mark does. Mark is a pool shark. He can shoot some pool, can't he?
Right.
And, and he's analytical too. He thinks stuff out while he's shooting the pool.
A lot of them have that analytical mind and the
Yes.
Him and
strategy.
Yes.
Henry.
Yes. Yes.
Him and Henry. Remember when Floyd is telling the story about remember Jesus was wrapped in the swaddling cloth,
Proud. Yes.
and they tell the story that the Floyd tells the story that it was called the swaddling cloth in
At
Jesus'
birth.
day. But
Mm-hmm.
when he was growing up, it was called the winding sheet.
Right.
They are
Sheets.
one and the
Yes.
same. And
Yes.
then what you finna say?
Then I was gonna say, and it was Mark, I think, that said that he was wrapped in death or at his birth.
The minute he was born, they wrapped him in
Yes.
death in that winding sheet.
Yes.
Swaddling cloth. They're one and the same.
Love it, love it. Erica is saying that Miss Eva has created her own book genre. She doesn't fit in any of them. That's true.
I
That's
don't.
true.
I don't.
It is very
And I
unique.
usually put edgy Christian.
That's a good, yeah.
I put
It's-
edgy Christian because I can't put anything else. It doesn't really fall under paranormal because they know shapeshifters.
Right.
Right.
Man's idea of paranormal. But
Right.
I just tell a story. I just tell a story.
Very well.
And
Very
you tell
well.
a good, and you tell a very good one. Now, what do you want readers to come away with when they from reading your books? What do you hope that they get out of it?
A good story that entertained them, but also to know that God is not a hard taskmaster. See, and I'm writing a book about this. We always say, and I know y'all have heard the song, and I know you all have heard it on or seen it on Facebook. God will not give you another woman's husband. Ain't y'all seen that? Ain't y'all heard this song? Talking about the side chick.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Okay.
And I'm like, that's Western philosophy. Because in actuality, God wasn't concerned about all this sexual stuff. Solomon had 720 wives and 360
Oh, yeah.
concubines. God, he was good with God. God was good to him until he bowed down and made a sacrifice to an idol. Every time David beat a war, he took his prize or his booty was the king's queen. Jacob married two sisters. So if God won't give you another woman's husband, how did Rachel become Jacob's wife when he was already married to Leah? Or cockeyed as she may be, Leah was the first wife. And then two concubines. What I want y'all to get out of this is that what we're taught in America is American indoctrination. It's American indoctrination. Right now, they say the Southern Baptists say women can't pastor because they read a scripture where Paul said that. But all they did was read it.
Right.
And Erica tell you, I tell my Bible study class, don't just read it, you need to study it. Cross-reference it. Because they didn't understand what Paul said that is the law. But it was the Pharisees' law. God never said that. I got an article coming out in the Port of Harlem. You know, I write for the Port of Harlem.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I write for the Port of Harlem. It's a free online magazine.
Okay.
But I write for them, and this article is coming out about women. Should women be preachers or pastors? Because we've been taught by Western philosophy not what thus says God.
Mm.
And then when Jesus said he sent his disciples out, he did not tell them to bring them to a denomination. He did not tell them to bring them to a church. He did not tell them to read the Bible, even though the Old Testament had already been canonized. What he told them is to bring them to him, and then his spirit would reproof and correct them. And what we need to do, and I hope that my books depict this, stop listening to what them people say and get still and let the spirit speak to your heart.
Hmm.
Because he'll tell you the truth. He said, I'm the way, the truth,
Right.
and the light.
Right.
We need to stop listening to what these folks say. When I was growing up, women couldn't wear pants to church.
Right.
199 degrees below zero. And the men got on pants and long johns. And back then, we didn't have pantyhose. We had stockings. And I told my pastor, I said, God ain't that one-sided. You misunderstanding that scripture.
Mhm.
And I was like 9 or 10 years old when I told him that. And he said, well, if I am, then I just pray. If I'm wrong, I pray God don't charge it to my heart. That's all he said.
Okay.
That's all he said. That's all he could say. And he's in my books too, Pastor Thomas Malsby.
Okay.
Mm.
Now, for those who
But that's
haven't,
right, Ola couldn't wear them to school either.
right.
And I'm up north. I don't know where you are, but we froze. That's why we all got arthritis now.
Oh my goodness. Now, for those who are new to the series, can you give like an overview of what the series is about and who the main character is and what he is about?
An entire series. Not only do I read the Bible, but I read all of the Apocryphas. As a matter of fact, I have all of the Apocryphas. Because again, America or England, who them folks
Right.
decided what books they wanted us to read.
Right.
And I always thought it was interesting that the Ethiopian Bible has 88 books, and we only have 66.
Hmm.
And I had one guy argue me on Facebook. He said, the Bible says that all scripture is breathed by God. I said, yes, it does. But I guarantee you that Ethiopian Bible has that same scripture in it. So where's my other 22 books? I
Okay.
want the rest of my book. So I buy the Apocryphas, and I was really impressed with Enoch
Right.
because Enoch tells the story of the Nephilim.
And that was my first time ever hearing that when I read the story.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And if you read, I just eat the Bible, okay? The Bible does say in those days there were watchers on the earth. That's actually scripture.
Mhm.
But anyway, the Nephilim are the look at her, our skirts can be short.
Right.
They couldn't. But the Nephilim are the children, are the offspring of the fallen angels
Mm-hmm.
and the human women. The scripture says there came a day when the sons of God saw the daughters of men, and they took as many wives as they wanted to. And out of that union, the Nephilim was born.
Okay.
In Enoch's book, God did not destroy the Nephilim in the flood. He took them to another dimension,
Another realm. Mhm.
another
Okay.
realm. That's absolutely
Okay.
right. And all of humanity was destroyed. First of all, because the Nephilim didn't ask to be born either.
Right.
They didn't ask for it. They were the sin of the father. So
Right.
my books are based on the Nephilim. And I actually used what Enoch said. The first of the fallen to impregnate a woman was Samjaja.
Right.
So I made Samjaza Brock's Father.
Love it.
Because Brock is the first and the most powerful watcher that has ever been born. As a matter of fact, there's only a few archangels that
More.
are more powerful than he is.
Mm-hmm.
And this whole story is based on the premise that they're still cursed because of what the blood that their father's blood is in them. The only way they stand in a position to be redeemed is with their spirit mates.
Right. I love that too.
With
Love
their
it.
spirit mates. She
Right.
saves him. And it's complete. I don't know. I've never had one of my readers mention it, but I did that for a reason because everybody's always saying that the woman was because caused the man to fall. Eve caused
Oh,
the man
right.
to fall. And I'm
Right.
saying, no, Eve didn't. No, Eve didn't. God didn't tell Eve. God told Adam.
Adam.
That's why when he
Mm.
came in the garden, he didn't say, Adam and Eve, where are you? He said, Adam, where are you? What have you done, man? You just gonna disobey me like that? Then the blame game started. That woman you gave me that I ain't even asked for. I ain't asked for it,
He
so you
made me.
should
She
call God.
made me. She made me.
She meant it. So I flipped it instead of woman being the cause of,
The
as
destruction.
man says,
Right.
the fall of man. I made the woman his redemption.
Love it.
I made the woman his redemption. And
Beautiful
all
twist.
throughout every
Beautiful
one of
twist.
my books is that woman that saves that man.
Mm-hmm.
And in real life, you know, the old adage behind every good man, there's a good
Right.
woman.
There's
Right.
There's a good woman. So that's what the whole premise is. And throughout it, of course, I jumped over to the archangels. And the
Mm-hmm.
archangels have sanction mates, and the series cross each other.
Cross it. Yeah.
You read about 17 of the spirit mates, and then you jump over to the
The sanction.
archangels.
Yeah.
And I was scared to death to put out the archangel series because I was like,
why?
because people deify angels.
Yeah.
In Revelation, Michael tells John on the Isle of Patmos, "He don't bow to me.
Mm.
We are both servants of the same God."
Mm.
And the reason, I'm gonna tell you how the reason I did this. Excuse me. And it may, I'm a thinker, okay? That's why I have
Mhm.
Mark have analytical skills.
Right.
And this has always messed with my mind. It said that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, saw they were fine. They some fine sisters, okay? And they took as many wives as they wanted.
Mm.
Answer me this question. If angels are deities,
Mm-hmm.
what was they doing with sperm?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Good.
What was they doing with sperm that they
Good
could
point.
impregnate a woman?
Good point. Yeah.
I was scared to put that book out because I said, "Oh Lord, these Christian fiction people are going to eat." And
Right.
I did have one chick on Michael's book.
Because
I
we
got
know
all,
him the most. Yeah. We hear
I got
about
all
Michael the
5
most.
stars and 1 2-star. She was so offended that I would do that to Michael.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her, explain to me what he doing with sperm. What he doing with it? And she couldn't answer it. She unfriended me.
Mm.
She unfriended me. And I said, but then just keep in mind, this is fiction.
Right.
This is
Right.
how my 3rd oldest sister, she called me one day. She said, can I ask you a question? My twin sister and I are the youngest of 10.
Okay.
My 3rd oldest sister was to me what Smitty is to Floyd. She's
Okay.
like my other mother. And she lives in Indianapolis. She said, can I ask you a question? I said, go ahead. Where in the hell do you get these stories from? I ain't comb my hair all week.
Say been engrossed.
I'm like, it's just stuff in my head, and a lot of stuff that I put in these books. It's what I really wonder. We'll never know till we get to the other side, and then when we get to the other side, it won't even matter. It won't even matter. But
Mhm.
on this side, I just got a lot of questions.
Right, right.
Mhm.
Well, you do a great job of. I love the way your
Right.
mind works because I have really been enjoying, and this is my second. Well, actually, more than my second time around on a few of them, and I'm reading them for the first time and getting a little more out of that I've forgotten about or missed the first time. But I'm loving it, and I love you. I think I've said this so many times. I love stories with strong brotherhoods and sisterhoods. So
Mhm.
we
Mhm.
get both in this series, and I love Brock and his team. I love
Right.
how they keep each other from being
Balance.
lonely after right, keep them balanced, keep them from being lonely, having and they have formed their own family
Mhm.
and love the. We also get the romance. We get this love story between him and Jody in the beginning, and
You don't get no drama. You don't get no cheating on nobody.
right,
No.
You don't get the no pimp up, hold down.
right,
I don't play that. I just try to write a good story to tell that will make you ponder.
mm-hmm,
Right.
yes,
Just something that will make you ponder. Or how did she come up with this? One of
right,
my sisters told me when I wrote in the book where the demons came to kidnap Brock's little baby.
yes. Oh,
Yeah.
My sister told me, "Oh my God," she said, "I stayed on that last two chapters for 3 weeks. I kept rereading it because she said she hate pedophiles. She said I just kept
yeah,
reading. I just
yeah,
what them demons planned on doing to them little girls."
right.
Oh,
She said, "You made demons call on Jesus." I said, "It didn't have nobody else to
That
call."
was difficult to read, but I love the way, and like I said, I love the way you get so the way that they tackle and handle all the demons and the humans that are evil enough to come for them. I love
right.
the way they handled the ones that were terrorizing Symphony.
Yes.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
oh man, it was like so creative,
And
and I
and
just loved it.
and Cheryl, the traffickers, the human traffickers,
Yes,
they
yes,
did them.
yes, love it.
And Cheryl, how about when you met your mate X?
Oh, I love X, and that's when I was telling you about X, and that's when you said you want X to be your mate. I said okay, but and I love
She
the
had
way
read
you
my
watched
book
over.
and she was going on and on and on and on about X.
Yes,
And I said, "Well, X doesn't have a mate. Do you want to be his mate?" Yes.
yes, yes, yes. Love him, and you all once you start reading, you'll understand. Um, but we're gonna
Mhm.
start with Brock's Redemption. That was the first book. And there were so many moments in the book that stood out to me. One was Brock was explaining to Jody about how he came up with his name because he is both. Now, can you explain this? He is both Brock, but he is also Seraphim.
So Raphael. Yeah.
Brock is see again, like I said, I always bring up stuff. Brock is Seraphiel.
Is it Raphael? I said Seraphim. Okay.
Yes, Seraphiel was his name, but he had no compassion.
Hmm.
So the second Brock is known, Seraphiel is known for his physical might. The
Mm-hmm.
second born Nephilim, Kabobio, although Brock is physically more powerful than him, Kabobio is more intellectual.
Oh, really? Okay.
And he tells Brock, "You're not going to really understand what they're going through unless you walk in their shoes."
Okay.
So Brock has Michael take his angel powers and basically make him human
Right.
while he's fighting in the Civil War. and he's fighting in this civil war, and he gets hurt and can't go any farther.
Mm-hmm.
And there was another soldier named Fred Brock who was fighting, and he picked Brock up and took him home to his family
Right.
and told his family to nurse him back to health because he was going back out on the battlefield. Sir
Mm-hmm.
Raphael was so impressed at the kindness that that family showed him that he decided for the rest of his days his name was going to be Brock. His name was
Mm-hmm.
going to be Fred Brock. And then
And
when he moves to Indiana, he buys the estate,
yes,
and he
of the
goes and gets
plantation.
all the Brocks that are still alive to come live with him.
Yes.
Of course,
Mhm.
when he tells the aunt that he's an angel, she faints, but I don't want to get too much of the book.
and but I love that concept, and I love just his heart, his given heart and his given spirit, and how he honored Fred Brock and took on his name.
Because
Um,
they nursed him back to health.
right, and
And with all the Brocks had died off except one child,
right. And how do you pronounce her name? Because I was trying to figure out how to pronounce
Aurelia. Aurelia.
Aurelia.
Aurelia means golden,
Okay.
and Brock named her. She was born right there in the estate, and he named her Aurelia, and
Okay.
he ended up raising her.
Yes, and that's actually one of my heartfelt moments in the book
Yes.
when she's taken and he didn't hear her, and she's frantic and he saves her, but he's
Oh, he
frantic.
loses his mind.
Yes, and it was such a heartfelt moment. Just she clinging to him and she said, "Daddy, why didn't you hear me? Why didn't you come for me?" And he has so much guilt
But at first, he's thinking that she's
talking
talking
about
to her
right,
real father who is dead,
right,
Right.
and uh, Jody has to tell Brock she's not calling
Talk
him,
about
she's
you.
right,
calling you.
right.
And that's when he realized she's not his niece, that's my baby girl.
That's my right.
That's why she said, I was calling for you, but you couldn't hear me. But he had put up that phone of silence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I could feel it. I'm like, I can see how he would have that guilt and it would be just building
It
and
was eating
building.
him alive.
Yes.
He was about to tear up everything.
Yes.
Yes.
Everybody was wait a minute, Brock. This the one. What's his name? Barakio. He
Always wet his pants.
yes.
Yes. And every time Brock would do something horrendous, he would wet his pants like a kid. I would fall out.
Oh my
And he a
God.
Nephilim. And he,
Yes.
but Brock scared the devil because
Yes, he's scared the best out of him. He is like
he's just that powerful. He's just that powerful.
yes, that was a powerful scene though. Erica, you're right. I claimed him. But yes, that was a powerful scene amongst a lot of powerful scenes. But I love the bond between Brock and Aurelia, and also
Jody's ex-husband.
yeah.
Oh, Ted.
Y'all want to know a little secret about Ted?
What?
Yes.
Know how I told
Really?
y'all that I named all the characters after my deceased
Right.
loved ones? Ted was my mother's oldest brother. I couldn't stand that man.
No. I'm about to say, who did you do that to? What made them
Okay.
I couldn't. And actually, in Ramiel's book,
Mm-hmm.
all the gang members
Right.
that they killed off,
Mm-hmm.
those all the men at the last company I worked for.
Oh no. So you got you
Make me mad. I write a book about you.
You paid him back.
I pay him back.
I love that.
Yeah.
You know what I thought too? I love that you made Jody where she was, she was plus size, but and then Ted had made her feel so bad about
Self-esteem.
made her feel like she was not enough or unworthy, and and about how her family basically also abandoned her because they couldn't deal with
Her
her.
dejection.
Right,
She was so dejected that it wasn't the Jody that they knew,
right.
although they knew that Ted was no good.
Mhm.
Although they knew that Ted was no good, and to some degree they couldn't understand why she was grieving over a no good man for leaving her for someone else.
Mm,
They just
Right.
couldn't figure that out.
yeah.
They couldn't. That old singer used to sing. Was it the Staple Singers? Brock came along and said, "Heavy makes me happy." He said he loved that plus size woman.
Right. This is trying to give him something to hold on to. But I was a little disappointed in, but I loved in her vows, and she wasn't trying to make them feel bad, but I love that they actually were able to
They
take a
did feel
look
bad.
at right,
They
right,
actually,
and
How they
feel
because they didn't
feel.
know how much they had hurt her.
right.
Right.
And I've had some readers say Jody needs to get over it. But if you have never been wounded, see, physical scars heal fast.
Right, right,
Mhm.
Still leaves a scar. I still got scars here.
right.
You know, emotional wounds, they're hard to get over. And it goes back to that indoctrination that they've indoctrinated in us. You all grew up doing colorism. You
Mm-hmm.
too dark. You
Mm-hmm.
too
Yes.
fat. You too this.
Right, right,
Remember, Adam said he finally realized the problem with humanity is TOO. Too much of anything they don't like.
right, right.
You too cute. I won't date a really good looking man because he too cute. He gotta be a player.
Mm,
And he's a lonely man.
right, right.
She too fat. She too dark. You remember Hope's problem? Mark told her
Yes,
she
I,
was
I
too,
Yeah.
hated that. Yes,
Very, yeah.
but it happens in real life.
it sure does. Yeah.
It happens in real life. All my
Hmm.
books got real life things, scars
And
in
even
them.
with Henry, by him being such a good, so they called him a pretty
Yeah.
boy.
Yeah, but Henry is double deck black with blue eyes. The sexy man, smooth
Hmm.
wavy hair,
Hmm.
Nice hair.
and
Mhm.
they just want him for a showpiece, an art
Right,
piece.
right,
Right.
Nobody took him serious because they thought he was a player.
right.
Mhm.
He lonely. He just wanted somebody to love.
Yes, and then just looking, you would think that he has the advantage, but he didn't. He was a
Mhm.
lonely person until he found his person. Um, One of the heartfelt moments that I love too, for when Brock and Jody were on the dance floor at their parents' anniversary party, and Brock started serenading Jody on the dance floor, and everybody
Yeah.
just stopped.
Everybody steps off to the side.
Yes, and just
If you
watching.
ever think about leaving, this heart
Yes,
of mine would be grieving. Don't go.
yes.
Forever mine.
And
Yep.
I love that too because I love music and I love when authors incorporate music into the stories, and you do that in all the books and you have it where Brock loves music, so we're always getting music around this state.
Yeah, Brock loves everything but rap. He call it rap crap.
Right.
Oh, yep.
He don't even like gospel rap.
Yes. So many good moments. What was some moments that stood out to you in Brock's Redemption, Antoinette?
Uh, to me, a heartfelt moment was Jody and Aurelia after the kidnap the okay, and they were
Uh-oh.
in bed together, and she's wrapped around her like she's a newborn baby, holding her,
Oh yeah.
comforting her.
Automatic, instant
Yeah,
maternal instincts.
Yes.
Maternal
Yes.
right,
instincts. I'm
right,
gonna love this. I'm gonna love this little
right.
girl
Yes.
because she's been wounded
Yes,
too.
Yeah, but what was hard
right.
to read was when she got it confused,
Yeah,
got her
Jody's
confused
mind got
Yeah,
confused.
with
yeah.
Symphony, yeah. And then Ram, just took it, and then he was like going off the rails, and him and Jody had a moment, and ever since then they had a bond.
Abby
Yes.
said they had a bond.
Mm-hmm.
Funniest
Absolutely.
thing to me was, remember Brock goes to dinner with Jody at her parents' house,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and the
and
sister
Ted shows up.
and
Yep.
Ted, and he teleports into the living room and
Yeah, they said,
forgets
how did he
that
get
the
from?
parents entertainment. I holler. I
Oh,
holler.
Oh,
oh
H
man, that
was
was
like, I
funny.
was wondering how he got in that living room so
Right.
fast. It was like a blink, but he teleported. He was so angry, he forgot.
Yes.
We forgot, yeah.
Yes.
But Jody's father was saying maybe I just thought my mind was set
Saw
playing
something.
tricks on.
Yeah. Maybe it was
But
the flicker of the lights or something.
right.
Remember when he took him on top of that? Because Ted wouldn't giving up. Remember?
He was
He
crazy.
followed them
He didn't
from
have much
he
sense. I'm like,
followed them from the dinner.
Remember
He
what he
followed
did
them
to him
from
on
the
top
dinner.
of that
right, he
garage?
Right.
followed them, yeah. And I,
Yep,
and
he was.
then he still didn't know when to quit because when he got out the car and he saw all the big guys, all of Brock's team, he
He
still
still was
was
mouthy.
yeah.
Right.
And he
Yeah,
and
he was
he
so
he,
mouthy.
and he 190 pounds, 5'11", and these are 6'6", 6'8" men,
Right.
muscle bound.
Right.
But he come to get the wife that he don't want.
That he don't even want.
Just
Right.
did not want her to be happy.
Oh, yeah,
Right.
I couldn't stand him. Couldn't stand him. Even his own cousin couldn't stand him. Just
My piano teacher when I was growing up, her name was Gussie Johnson. Um, she started reading the books. She died after I finished with Allie's book. But anyway, she was so mad at me because she said, "You punished Brock harder than you did Ted. You let Ted die easy."
mm,
Mm.
And Gussie was a stutterer. She
right.
stuttered bad, except when
Mhm.
she was mad.
Okay,
And
yeah.
I knew she was mad because she didn't stutter. I'm like, Gussie, it's fiction.
You know that you wrote these characters because I told you after X that Brock is the ultimate for me as far as
Right.
book based. So and Erica she's saying Henry and Pia's connection is one of her favorites,
Yeah.
um but just to I have to bring this up because I was so upset and it's been a while since I read that book, but I'm still upset
Oh,
that
Lord.
the women, I don't like how they take advantage of Brock. And he lets them for the most part because he loves Jody and he loves that he has his big family now.
It's
But
more the big family because he spent so many years alone.
true.
No.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
He just wanted, because the Brocks, they could have lived forever with him, but
But
they
they chose
chose
to
for
leave.
life.
Right.
Mhm.
And he said, in one of the books, he talks about the boy King Samuel, remember? He
Mhm.
Mhm.
talks about Solomon,
Right.
him
Right.
All
and
the time.
King Solomon was big time hoes together.
Right.
Mhm.
Solomon had 700 some wives. His was double that, but he couldn't love them. He could just make them feel good.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
But it's all, he felt like he was always being left behind.
Mhm.
So when he got this group of people who are not going to ever leave him because they're there until the rapture,
Right.
Right.
he just lets them do whatever they want to do. But now he will go off. He will get them straight.
Now he will go off. It takes a lot, but yeah, he will go off. And I love those moments because sometimes they just take it too far. But you know what I love too? I love that his team always has his back.
Back.
Has his back.
Yes.
Let me
Yes.
tell Jody, if I hear one more word from anybody in this room, I'm gonna
You
mute them, starting with you.
Yes.
And I mean, y'all shut up.
Yes. Yes.
okay.
He just had
Yes.
enough of the women, Jody, and the men just standing around there ain't saying nothing.
Right.
And he was like, "What kind of men are you? How did you?"
Y'all gonna let these women do this to y'all?
Mm-hmm.
And they
He
like,
had enough.
he'd
And
had enough of it.
Right.
okay, you got another one, Miss
Oh no,
Eva.
no,
She
no,
said she
no.
just
Katina.
Right.
I was gonna offer for anybody who I tell you what, you got Brock's Redemption. Inbox me your email, and I will gift you Ramiel, the next book. And
All
anybody on here who don't have my books, inbox me, and I will gift Brock's Redemption to you.
Okay, so Katina, you're gonna have Rameo's book, because that's the next book after Brock's Redemption.
Right.
So
I think
congratulations.
it was, I don't know, I think it was Midnight Ace. One year I had did Brock's Redemption free for a weekend from Friday to Sunday. Brock's Redemption was free. And I can't remember if it was 1,700 or 2,700 jumped off the shelves. And I didn't see the fruition of that right away. 3 years later, Midnight Ace, y'all know Midnight Ace.
Yes, ma'am.
She's like, I didn't have this book for 3 years. I read Brock on Thursday, and by Sunday I was through with book 5.
Yep, and that's how it is. You start going through it, and man, because I did the same thing. I was going back to back to back to back.
Right.
Look
Once
at Martha talking about she was mad. Martha says, I was so mad at the Walker Brothers. And
that's coming up, Mom. That's coming up, Martha. That's one of my other
oh man, you know what? I wrote
moments.
that too good. Because you know, at least 50% of my readers don't like the Walker Brothers.
I still don't either.
Look,
I was never gotten over that. I have never gotten over that. And then I just reread it again, so it's all back fresh again.
Oh my God. I'm like this. And you know, a lot of my readers don't like Verinda. She thinks she this. She think I said, no, she don't. I said, no, she don't. Yeah. Like, you ought to read the book. I said, I wrote the book.
Okay. Erica said that's exactly how it goes. I did the same thing, sat on that Brock for about a year, and then binge read the books in a week.
And then Erica told her book club.
Okay.
And then Edwina, I can't think of her last name, Pitney or something like that.
Putney.
She said, I held onto this book for so long, and now I done messed around. She said, I'm like on book 6 or something. She just said, I just going on because it's a grabber. And I always tell people that either you like my books, love my books, or you totally hate them.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I met Miss Eva in North Carolina at Lights, Cameras, Action.
At Lashira's
thing.
Brought it home, kept it on the shelf for almost a year. Our book club chose it. I read it. It was so good. Mm-hmm. I went and I started buying all of them after that.
Yes, me, yeah. Nanette is actually the one who told me about it.
I know Nanette told you about it.
Yeah. Erica, I love Miranda.
She loves Miranda.
But some of those Walker Wise, really. Yeah, that I tell you, some of the ladies, they make you want to just, I don't know, jump through the pages. I'm telling you. But okay, we have to talk about this, Ms. Eva. Okay, what was your perspective as far as, because I still have a problem with the Walker men. To me, Hezekiah, he forfeited his. I'm like Yami. He forfeited his talking about the buzz when he stood there and let that happen.
Let that happen.
Yes.
But you all have to realize, and if you read the next book, Michael explained it to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like who was light wings to them, to all those boys,
to their surrogate dad.
Yeah,
that's right. So now I've got to choose between my surrogate father, who's been there for me all along,
all life, yeah,
and my son-in-law. But light wings.
I get that, but they started. Remember, they were some of them were egging it on, and I couldn't get with
Oh,
that.
that was Elijah.
Yeah.
That was
Yes.
Elijah.
Mhm.
That's
Yes.
why. And yet, what did Snow Anna call Hezekiah? You has been.
Mhm.
You has
Yeah.
been.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they were warm. They were mad about that.
Yeah, sure. And the sons, the second generation.
Yes.
They were.
But
The
you know,
walk.
they blocked their minds. But even still, what they did, Brock still had compassion. Said, I'm
And
not
that's
Yes.
what I wanted him to really, because I saw when it kept showing saying that though, he just kept staring at light wings, is it? He kept staring
Uh-huh.
at him. So I just knew he was about to do something
Let
to
him.
him, but he didn't. He took the high road.
Except that what does Michelle Obama say? When they go low, we go high.
Right.
Took the high
But
road.
you see where Yamiel and his other brother,
Akiva.
Kibi.
Akiva.
yeah, what
Kibby.
they wanted to
Kibby.
do. But
I know Midnight told me, she said, when she got through reading that book, and Martha just said that she's still mad about what that whole situation.
yeah, I am
But
too.
Midnight said, when I finished reading that book, Miss Eva, she said it was so dramatic. I just sit there and stared at the wall for about an hour.
Wow.
Mhm.
I'm like,
Yeah.
Midnight is fiction.
I was so heated, man. I was so heated. I wanted to be. I said I
Thank you,
wanted to be
Ola.
there to. I
Inbox
wanted
me,
to be
Ola.
there.
What you say?
I said I was so heated. I wanted to be there to defend Brock for real.
Rock.
Him
Yeah.
and Yami. Um, Ola
Oh,
said
But
she
you
got
know
to
what
get
Brock
started
did
with this
though?
series.
He said it was already a given that once he got his power back, Lightwings was gonna get his ass kicked.
Right.
right.
He was mad. He told Elijah, the next time you tell anybody to touch one of my children, it's your
Right.
ass. It's your ass.
Because I
Because
think he was more upset about what happened to Yami.
he
Yeah.
was more
Yeah.
upset about what had happened to Yamiel.
Yeah.
Yami said, it's your ass.
Mm-hmm.
And they
Man,
jumped. They were scared.
I
Yes.
bet.
Look at her.
She
See
said,
what
I'm
Martha
still
say? I
mad. Me
still
too.
don't
Me
like
too,
Brenda.
Martha. Martha said I read it, but I still don't like
You
it.
still don't like Brenda
Cheryl,
either.
Cheryl, what did you think of Brock and Jody's wedding scene and Michael coming to
Just
perform?
stepping up
Oh,
in there.
I love that. That was because I love Michael, and I love when he makes appearances, especially in the
Yes.
beginning. Yeah, I love
Girl,
it.
that the description of him in that tuxedo
Oh
Yes,
at
yeah.
walking
hell,
down
I'm like, oh my gosh.
with his swag and stuff, just like
Yes.
Brock. Yes, and then
Could
the
you
blinding light. I love
yes, yes. Could you
That's
imagine
cool.
Floyd's face because she gave such a descriptive
Yes,
view of how Floyd was staring at Michael and
yes.
saying, I know that face in that
I,
person from
I know
somewhere.
that. But you know what? See, the
Yes,
scripture says, be careful how you entertain a stranger,
you
because
Mhm.
might
you
be in.
may be entertaining an angel unaware. And I used to
Mhm.
Mhm.
always wonder, how could they see angels in the Bible and we can't now? But who's to say we haven't?
True,
Who's to
true.
say we haven't seen them? They walk amongst us. I believe that. I believe even now. So to write that scene with Michael stepping in there, nobody knows he's an angel
Right.
because they have the same physical attributes. They have to have the same physical attributes in order for them to get human women pregnant. I'm getting back to that.
I hear you. I hear
They,
you.
they gotta.
I hear you.
Mhm.
I loved it. That was a beautiful scene too. I love that. Um,
But he said what God has joined together.
Let no man put
No, he
asunder.
didn't.
yes.
That ain't what he said.
What is?
He said what God has joined together, no man can
Oh,
put asunder.
can he did?
No
Yes.
man
Yes.
can put asunder.
Yes.
And I believe that.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes. I agree. Yes. I loved it, and I love when he came into the conference room. I don't know if that was still Bryce Redemption when he came into the conference room, and that's what we were talking about when Brock lost it because of his guilt over his daughter,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Be at peace, be at peace," because
Be at peace.
everybody was
Also, when Brock messed himself up, remember when
Yes.
Brock messed? I ain't saying how he messed himself up, but he messed himself up.
Yes.
And Michael because Michael is his adopted father now.
Right.
Remember?
And that's what he told them that night. He said, "That's my son.
That's
Those
my
are my
son.
sons." Right.
Don't y'all get it twisted.
Right.
Don't y'all get it twisted. That's my boy.
Mm-hmm.
And y'all made him do this to himself.
Right. Right.
Because he's so desperate to have a family.
Mm-hmm.
As strong as he is, he needs somebody to love him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't like when that scene too between him and Jody, where she was upset with him, but then when she wanted him to do the snooping, it was okay.
Right.
Yes. When she wanted him, and that's what Ollie went off on him.
Yeah.
Ollie went off on her. Listen to you. A minute ago, you was telling him off for snooping.
Right.
Now you want to treat him like a puppet on a string.
Mm-hmm.
Snoop when you tell him to. But Brock had already told, I know what my responsibility is.
Right.
I mean, he will go off on Jody.
Right.
And remember when he said something about he checked all her family's memories,
right,
to see what they did before he let them onto.
And then he let her know, because I have a child here.
He said,
"Yeah,
I have a minor child here. I wasn't gonna let any old hoodlum come up on this estate." He said, "When it comes to my human daughter, that's how I feel about it. That's how I roll. Get mad all you want, but I'm 6 degrees separated from giving a good damn about how you feel."
He sure did.
He went, so he will go off on him.
Mm-hmm.
He will.
You had the man burn off one of the boys trying to date a dreads. I was like,
while he slept.
Yes. My goodness. Oh my
and then they're gonna say, when was Aurelia's first date? When she was in college. He let nobody date her. He let nobody.
And then he have he had a
paddle her, remember?
Right.
Yeah.
He swung that paddle and felt the pain himself.
Yes.
Brock said, "Ain't nobody hurt my baby."
Yep. Because then he even have a problem with Deuce when they first started.
But you know the history behind Aurelia.
Yeah.
We're not gonna say it on here.
Okay.
But the history behind Aurelia, not that she's a Brock.
Right.
So much as who she's
right.
And he just thought she should be like the Virgin Mother. He didn't think nobody was good enough for his daughter.
For her.
Yes. But it was some beautiful relationships beautiful bonds that you created, and one of the most beautiful to me was Brock's relationship with his little grandson,
BJ.
Yes. Oh my god, it was so beautiful. I loved that vibe.
BJ grew up to be kind of bad, didn't he?
Yes, you sweet.
You
sweet.
Oh man. Yes,
I just tell stories.
Baby, they good stories. They some good stories.
Yes, Erica. Brock is 10 toes down for his baby girl. He'll take everybody down. Yes, he will.
Sure will. He'll do that.
Sure
he
will.
Loves Aurelia.
Yes, I love the bond. What was some more standout moments for you throughout the series? Not necessarily just Brock's redemption, Antoinette.
Ollie and his romantic side, and how he romanced Destiny with the trips to
Italy. Yes. Yeah, and, I love his trademark. You heard.
Yeah. But he says sex is fundamental. We're gonna do that anyway.
Yes,
we're gonna get to that. He said, but I want to court you. I want to romance you.
Ooh,
right.
I've been around for 5,000 years, and I've never spent a day in the park with anybody that I love. I just want to do simple things like that. He just was romantic.
Yeah.
Y'all, what about the Northern Lights trip?
I'm trying to remember that one.
Yeah, it's in his story
Okay.
when he
Yes,
takes her to was it Canada to see the Northern Lights?
yes,
You know,
Northern
that's
Lights.
on my bucket
Okay.
And
list. I always wanted to
and
see Northern Lights.
Mm.
then sitting on top of the pyramid having a picnic. Like for
Oh.
real?
But remember, he also took her to the door of no return.
Turn,
Mm.
They
yes. But
was
she couldn't
so
handle
she
yeah.
couldn't handle it because
She couldn't handle
she didn't know about that.
Right. Oh my goodness. Just so I love the romantic moments all throughout. And y'all remember when Brock and Yomiel when he first came and Brock had so much guilt about him being left alone all this time with
yes.
his demon brothers, and he told them, just his story, and Brock took him down to hell to see the other brothers, and
That Brock
let
had
him
got
let
rid of.
him know he no longer walks alone. He has me,
Right.
his
Hmm.
father, and it was just so heartwarming. I love it, heartwarming.
And then
But y'all,
Kibi wanted to go down there too, remember? So
Yes,
the
yes,
other group of brothers could see that
yes,
they were hanging with
yes.
Sir Raphael too, that Sir
yes.
Raphael had embraced them. And he ended up adopting them. So he was no longer their brother, but
Right, I
He
he
was
forgot.
there.
Yeah, because they started calling them pops, but at first I thought it was just because they were calling them that, just to be calling them. But I forgot. You're right. He
mhm,
did.
He
he
adopted him.
adopted them.
Yeah, I forgot
But
about that.
but what did you think? What did you think of all every time Seraphio went to hell and he come blazing as Seraphio and the demons would be running and
Yes.
getting out of the way.
Even Lucifer was running, wouldn't
Even
he?
the flames though,
Yes,
even the
yes,
flames would back off when he came. Yeah.
yes,
And when he made Lucifer eat dirt,
Yes,
yes,
yes, yes,
yes,
yes, yes. Love daughter, and I
yes.
love his little daughters,
oh God, they a
Elizabeth
hot
and,
Elizabeth
mess.
Taylor.
and
Elizabeth
Hannah.
and Hannah.
Yes, I love that. And Hannah is something else. I'm telling you, that little girl is
Yes.
something else. But so he had
I'm
him
Meanie.
and
ready to
only.
start their series. I'm getting ready to start them. They're grown now.
Okay,
All
okay.
right.
I'm getting ready to start them because they've been. I'm jumping. I've been on Spirit Mate a long time. I'm getting ready to jump. I can't
Into the next
decide if I
generation.
wanted to call it the next generation or the progenies.
Okay.
I have to come up with a name for the series.
Oh, I'm
Oh,
excited about that. I'm
I'm
gonna
getting
definitely have
ready
to
to.
get caught up on the
Yeah.
later books. Now, this was a funny one for me when Brock Yamiel, how you pronounce his name? Yamiel,
mhm.
and Akia Akabil when they
Vacaville.
were at the diner and they were explaining to him the birds and the bees and Yomiel was getting, then Brock was being all technical and stuff. And Yomiel was like, wait a minute. He said, you are not going to learn anything what the way Brock is telling you. And so he
Because he's
started,
a prude.
Yes, yes,
but
yes,
when he was telling them that him and Brock and Ekabil, they were both like blushing. But
yes.
that was hysterical.
And remember,
And then look,
Michael said he don't know when Brock got so squeamish, seeing that he was
The
Solomon's
way he used to be,
sidekick.
yeah. Yes. I said,
They
when
had
did
their
that
harems
happen?
together.
Mm.
and did you see how he freaked out when Doc say, "Man, get you an adult film," and he was like, "That's
Oh
not
yeah,
coming up.
that was hilarious. That was
They're gonna
That's
punch.
hilarious.
You
coming up in
better
my
bring
house."
that in
He
the
said,
house.
"Wait a minute, you are not bringing that on this stage."
I'm gonna punch you in your throat. That's nasty.
Oh man. Martha is saying, wait a minute, let me see. Erica said she
Sheila
never asked
says,
where Gino and his personality came from. He's a hot mess, so funny. He'll burn down the world for those he loves.
Yes,
"Oh,
Talking
I
about
don't know
Gino.
why I brought Gino in there. I thought it was important. Remember how you said what made me do the different
Nationalities.
nationalities?
Hmm.
I thought it was important to write a story about all types of people. And that's where Gino came from. Um, I'll never do like a love scene there. That ain't gonna
Okay.
happen. I couldn't even
Okay.
imagine
Right.
that. But they exist. And again, the gospel according to Eva and the way I've interpreted the Bible, American indoctrination has misunderstood what Sodom and Gomorrah says. And
Hmm.
I won't even say it's the gospel according to Eva, because anytime anybody questioned on me on it, I tell them read Ezekiel 16th chapter. God will tell you why he destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. He had nothing to do with homosexuality.
Hmm.
He said, this is the reason I destroyed your sister Sodom. Ezekiel 16, read that.
Okay.
It'll give you a new perspective on that. Am I saying
Okay.
that it's right or wrong? No, I'm not saying that. But what I
Right.
am saying is that when Jesus was talking to Peter in John, and Peter looked back and saw John following them, and Peter said, Master, what about him? And Jesus said, what's that your business? You do what I told you to do. To me, that was saying stay in your own lane.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
We all got enough to ask forgiveness for,
True.
and we all need improvement in our own lives.
True.
I'm just sitting here right this minute because I don't know how these people here on here would take it, but I'm jonesing for a cigarette.
So we all have our, yeah, you're
We
right.
all have stuff we have to overcome.
Right.
We have to. So who am I? Get the beam out your own eye, and then you can see what I did more clearly. So that's why I added Gino. But Gino is a fighting mafia man, ain't he?
Yes. Martha is saying I love Chaz when he said boogity boogity boo.
When they were in that old castle in New Jersey, and the women were afraid. They
Yeah.
went to look for Elijah.
But you know what was touching, and I still think it's touching, is the when the painting that they made of all the Watchers' mothers, and how
Hold
they
on one
reacted.
second. Ola, then I'm glad I didn't light one in front of you and try to.
Oh, she said her too.
She said she recently quit.
Oh, okay,
So I'm
yeah,
glad I don't want to tempt you.
right.
So the Lord give me strength. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was saying when one of the touching moments for me was the painting that was made created for all the Watchers with all their mothers
With all their mothers. So
depicted
that
in it.
was
Yeah,
faith.
that was faith.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because she has a photogenic mind.
Right.
Right.
And she remembers her days in heaven.
Okay, I
Because I
remember.
believe that we all came from heaven.
Mm-hmm.
When I wrote Before the Beginning, I don't know if you've read that one yet. We're all little lights flying around in heaven,
Yep, I
waiting
did
for our
read that a
turn to
long
be
time
born.
ago. Yeah.
Waiting
Mm-hmm.
for our turn to be born. Faith
Yeah.
actually remembers being that little light.
I remember it. Yeah, I remember that. Once I was reading, I had forgot about that. And it was her mother that actually did the painting, though, right?
Her mother did the paintings,
Right.
yes.
Okay. But I thought that was beautiful. I love that because for those of you who haven't read it, well, you'll see when you read it as far as the story with the Watchers and their mothers.
Yeah,
And
there's a
so
story behind the Watchers and their mother.
right. Now when Henry was ragging on Brock and the Walker brothers, and when they were inside the men's den about if they needed any advice in the love making department and stuff, and how uncomfortable Brock was, and the Walker brothers were uncomfortable too. But I love the dynamic between all of them, and that was a good moment too, as far as their
And
brotherhood.
Henry was giving Brock a run for his money.
Yes, he was. He should have been afraid to make him upset.
Brock, I inspired the country. What is it? The country. What's that Chinese book?
What?
Kama Sutra.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, yep.
I know more about. I've forgotten more about sex than you ever know. Henry come right back with it. You forget too much.
Right, because you wouldn't know it the way he acted about it. But he old school though. He said,
"Oh man, Brock was warm."
Yes. And I love the way you made the women so strong too throughout. Some of the fight scenes and stuff were difficult, like with Maria and
Maria say,
and
"I'm straight about
and the
the hood.
racist.
I ain't no damsel in distress. I'm straight about the hood." And she
Mm-hmm.
kicked those racists' butt.
Yes, she did.
Yes,
In her 5-inch stilettos.
Yes. Yes.
They were like, "Did you see her shoes?"
She did all of that while she was.
She took all them men down in them shoes.
Yes.
Yeah.
I loved it. You give us some strong females, and then you also give us the dynamic as far as there are going to be problems when you have that many people living in one place.
right.
So we do get to see like the not so good moments between certain ones. Because I was really disappointed in Symphony the way she treated. Can't remember. Was it Hope?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you would have thought because everything that she had been through that she never would have, but she was trying to be like,
and the way the way Lorraine was
Treated.
like ignored. Yeah,
yes,
she was ignored.
Yes.
Like she was white noise
Yes.
in the background. But what about
Yeah.
Will Hannah? Don't mess with us, Brock girls.
Hannah got Lillian's mouth.
Oh yeah, yep.
But Hannah, like, I ain't scared of no demon now. She's 3 years old.
Right.
Demons.
Right. Now, how did you come up with the concept as far as their aging with Brock's kids? Did you was there a reason behind that?
Well, actually, I would have liked to keep them as little. Have you ever didn't you ever want your kids to stay just little?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
My grandmother Snoanna used to say, when they little, they on your lap. When they grow up, they on your heart.
Yes.
I wanted them to stay little, but my readers start, is these kids ever going to grow up? So I said, okay, it's time. And then keep in mind that Lizzie is Brock's firstborn.
Oh, yeah.
He wasn't paying attention.
Yes.
He gave her all that he was.
I forgot about yes.
And he freaking out.
Elizabeth is a bad little sister.
Yes. She's the one that's gonna be meeting with Michael, right? A lot. Is that am I remembering correctly?
Yeah. Did you read you didn't read Battered Road to Restoration?
Nope, I didn't read that one yet.
Where them demons came to the school to attack them kids?
Or did I? Maybe I did. Wait a minute, what book was that?
Battered Road to Restoration.
No, I mean, what number?
Oh God, I don't know.
remember
it's at the school. Brock was trying to restore the church, and Lucifer releases those demons.
I remember. Yeah, I did read that one.
Children.
I did read that one. Yeah.
And Lizzie put that shield around the kids. She's like 8 years old, but when she stepped outside that shield, she's 21.
I remember that now. Yeah, because they can move through. They can move through time. Yes.
Yeah.
I remember that now. Yes.
Absolutely. Lizzie is a bad girl.
Yes, she is.
When Lizzie's wings came out and Hannah saw them, she like lost her mind.
She kind of like, we gonna talk about this heifer.
Right.
Heifer, we gonna talk about this.
Oh man, such great characters. I love it. And like I said, I'm about to do a full reread, and then I'm gonna get caught up on the newer ones because since I started rereading them, I'm engrossed again. So I'm gonna keep going and just get caught up. Martha is saying her readers keep asking for the next generation.
That's why I said I'm moving on.
Yeah.
That's why I'm moving on, because they keep asking, they want these children to grow up. And I'm like, I'm not sure y'all ready for Lizzie though.
Look,
But they already
Lizzie-
had grown really fast though. Cause remember, Adam, he
Well,
was
Adam, when he turned a year on his
He
first
became
birthday, he
yeah
decided he was going to be a grown man.
right. Oh, so he had the choice. I forgot about that. Yeah.
Right. But Lizzie and Hans are growing up slowly.
Right. Okay.
The
yeah.
last book I wrote, they were 12 years old because that's how long I've been writing, 12
Right.
years.
Right.
But now I'm just going to jump. I'm just going to jump to
Okay.
them being grown.
Because that's what I kept when she said that. I said, wait a minute, Adam did go, become adult very fast. Because remember, he had some growing pains because he thought because he was of age that he
Come
knew
on,
more than
Diaper.
what he did.
But there's
Remember,
life
come on,
lessons.
Diaper.
You know,
Come on, Diaper.
his mother-in-law told him, "You cheated time,"
Right.
Mhm.
and he said, "But I was too powerful."
Mm-hmm.
And she said,
Mhm.
"Do you think that you were more powerful than Jesus was when he was born?"
Hmm.
And he said, "No, but Jesus had a date with the cross. I wouldn't have jumped time if that was my destiny either."
Mm.
And
Oh, goodness, that thing.
she laughed, but she told him, "There's still life lessons that you have to
Yes.
learn.
Yes.
You're just physically 30,
Mm-hmm.
but right here you're not, because you ain't learned life lessons yet."
Right. And he had to learn the hard way.
He had to learn the hard way. He had to learn.
Yes.
That's why he always said, "Come on, diaper.
On Diaper.
Right. That was
Come on,
hilarious.
diaper."
Every time Miss Eva would
he
put
had,
him,
he had Brock cracking up.
He
Oh,
He
my
said,
started
"I
hollering.
wanted my mama to put that kiss my boo boo and put that nice cushy diaper back on me." And Brock
Oh,
like,
man.
"That's one boo boo your mama ain't gonna kiss, boy."
Right. You know what was a good moment for me too, and I didn't read it this time around, but I remember from last time I read when Brock got what's the word I'm looking for? A promotion where he got even more powerful than
Elevated. He got elevated.
elevated. Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
That was a powerful moment as well.
Yes.
Mhm.
Well,
Oh,
Michael used to be over the Watchers, but now Brock is over all the Watchers.
Right.
And Michael let him know, only one's call I will answer is my son, Seraphius.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be calling me.
Right.
Go through your leader. Go through your leader.
Right.
And you better
And I
behave
look
yourself. Because
and I
y'all,
love that that Yami
the
huh?
the baptism of all the watchers.
take me to
Oh
the
yes.
He
Yes.
said he touched me.
Yes.
You said what, Miss Eva?
In that book, when they got baptized,
Mm-hmm.
remember God came down in the water.
Oh yes,
and
yes.
baptized
I
him.
can't wait to reread all of that.
And they said,
And
"What happened to you?" Because he doesn't have to wear the shades anymore.
right.
And it ended with, "He touched me."
Yes.
He
Oh,
touched me.
love it.
Yeah.
And I love how brilliant Doc is to even come up with the idea of
The
the shades and
glasses.
all of that. Yes. And I love that he got his promotion. And got his
Doc,
own
right.
team. Yep, and got his own team.
Martha, it wasn't Elizabeth said Adam was unleaded gas. It was Achabil who said it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Achabil said Elizabeth came out fully leaded.
Did it. Mm-hmm.
Adam came out unleaded.
Mm. But do you
Which means
remember?
he's not as powerful as Lizzie.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And she is so mature for her age, so
Ooh,
contained.
yeah.
She reminds me, I guess, of Brock, I guess. But
Serious all day long.
yes. And I love that Michael has taken her under his wing to help guide
Michael
her.
said if he thought he could have got away with it, he would have made Brock forget Elizabeth was his and raised her as his own. He loved that grandbaby so much.
Yes.
And she was like, "You better not."
Erica, one of the most surprising, sweetest revelations was Smooth and his relationship with Shelby and Angel. Didn't see the OG in that way until the Walker Brothers book.
Right.
Okay, Miss Eva, we got to talk about one of my favorite scenes before we go. Okay, you already know it because I told you back then when I first read it.
She
You
called me
wrote
on
the
the
mess
phone.
out of this scene. It had me rolling.
She called me
And
on the phone. Oh my God, I love this scene.
it's in the Valentine's, one of the Valentine's books. Let me see. What's the name of it? I'm trying to think of the name of the book.
Half my spirit.
Yes,
Oh
and
God.
it's the scene when they're in the conference room, and I
That's
have it
when
actually.
Valicia first comes on the scene.
Yes, and
And y'all
her,
remember how Valicia and Maurice is flirting with each other?
it is so
Yes. Yes.
hilarious. Oh my goodness! And I thought I had saved the scene because I wanted to. Let's see.
And
Okay,
she's like,
so
and what is your name? He said, you could call me yours. And she says it would sound better if I call you mine. And he like,
right.
well, call me mine.
Yes,
Okay.
Hopkins' pulse had sped up the minute Valicia walked through the door. He was thinking to himself, "Chitty chitty bang bang, baby." and,
Chitty, chitty.
and his voice went down a sexy notch. "Hello, Valicia," he greeted and cracked his jaw. Lisa looked around the room and said, "Y'all men are so fine. Y'all give fine a whole new meaning." Then she looked back at Hopkins, especially this mixed bag of sexy nuts right here. "What's your name again, white chocolate?" "Just call me yours," he replied. And he said, "Mine sounds better coming out of my mouth. Wouldn't you agree?" He said, "Absolutely." And then everybody roared, and Brock is like looking back and
Brock's
forth
like,
between.
enough of that, cut it out. And from that point on, she calls him mine.
Yes,
Right.
She does not call him Maurice, she calls him mine.
that is still one of my favorite scenes. It had me rolling laughing because I could just picture it.
They're
Uh,
flirting
Yes.
at each other.
yes.
Sexy white chocolate.
And Taz is crazy tale. What about in the castle in New Jersey? Boogity boogity boogity.
That's what Martha
That's what
is
Martha
talking
said is one
about.
of her favorites. Yeah. Kibby said
Yes.
Adam the used up tea bag. Erica said. Kibby
That's
said
what he
Adam the
called him.
used
He
up
said
tea bag.
he was a weak emission or something like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And they asked him, emission, teabag, and Brock's cracking up. And he said, all he could say was, I'm growing.
Right. Oh man, you had some. There is some very serious moments, a lot of serious moments in the book, but you did well to
Right.
balance it with the lighthearted moments as well. So
You get the tears, you get the drama, the tears, the joy,
yes,
the
So
romance.
much humor.
yes,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So much
there's so
humor.
much in it.
yes, it is. And
Oh,
Erica said,
Erica, Jared's baptizing
yes,
his ex-wife.
Yes. I'm gonna
said,
baptize you in
said that pastor was fish grease.
He was fish greased hot. He sure was. He said, we got a new covenant. Boom.
Yes.
Down in the water. And
Yes.
So,
neither one of you hoes have any children.
yeah, so I recommend anybody that's in the audience who hasn't read it yet. Like you said, you're gonna get it, and Miss Eva is gonna just inbox her your email address. Katina, she's gonna get you Rameo's book because you already got Brock Redemption, but Ola, you're gonna get Brock's Redemption. So
Okay, and
email
also, even though it's saying EJ Brock on Facebook, I'm Eva J. Brock.
right.
You're not going to get me if you type EJ Brock. It's Eva J. Brock.
Yeah, so inbox her so you can start this beautiful series, and I can't wait. Just keep me posted on how your progress. I know you're gonna love it. I know you're gonna love it, both of you. And I appreciate everybody coming out. Oh, Francis, I didn't even know you were in the audience. She said you're a new author for her, but I can't wait to get started.
Go ahead, Francis. It's Eva J. Brock.
So inbox her your email address so she can gift you the first book, Brock's Redemption. You're gonna love it, Francis. Believe me.
Yes.
Oh
Great.
man.
Well, I hope you do. I pray that you do.
Mm-hmm. she's read some of the other ones that I've interviewed, and she's another one that I interviewed 2 weeks ago, I believe. That's when I told you that doesn't usually do interviews, but she did it. And she started reading the first book, and she's been reading it ever since. So yeah. Yeah, she's going to gift you the first book.
Sample, but I was going to gift the first book all in all.
Yeah, she's going to gift you the first book, Francis. So just inbox her, Eva J. Brock.
If it's appealing, then Eva J. Brock.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to continue what you read in the sample. All right. I want to thank everybody for coming out and being so engaged. I enjoyed this discussion. I've been waiting a while to talk about Brock and the rest of the game.
I'm so grateful that you thought enough to have me on here.
Yes, my pleasure. And I'll let you know once I get to, because I'm about to do a reread. So once I get to the part where I'm going to the books that I haven't read yet, so I'll be caught up.
And those of you all who are reading my series, just a couple of more days before the Archangel Samuel comes out.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that she also has a spinoff series, The Archangels. Archangel is it Art or Arch?
Sanction Mates, yeah.
Sanction Mates. It's the Spirit Mates and the Sanction Mates.
So those are also interconnected with this series. So check that out as well. So thank you, Antoinette, for co-hosting tonight. Thank you, Miss Eva, for coming on. Much. And everyone have a great rest of your evening. And I'll see you next week, same time, same station.
Thank everybody who was on. I appreciate you. I appreciate this all together. Y'all have a blessed night.
All right.
Good night.